The glory of victory. The agony of defeat. Video games exemplified this phenomenon all the time, but perhaps no gaming genre does so more than the fighting game. And many of these games feature a heck of a lot more defeat than victory, if you know what I'm saying. And this list features GameTom's top 10 hardest fighting game bosses that I've played. Because there are many of them out there and I am but one man. A quick sidebar before we begin. Many of you may be wondering why it took me so long to make this video, and there are many factors involved. One of them was just getting the gold darn footage. Seriously, some of these games took me hours to record due to the difficulty level. Totally worth it though. Second, as I said before, I am but one man. There will be many bosses not on this list that you would swear to Osiris should absolutely be here, and they will make the bosses on this list look like little babies. And I'm sure you're right. But, while I have played many video games, there are just as many that I have never played or even heard of. So, if you think I missed one, leave it in the comments below and maybe, just maybe, I'll include it on another list. Maybe. Remember the whole I am one man thing? And now, without further ado, I present to thee the list.
Number 10.
Arc Systems has made a bunch of mega excellent fighting games for a long while now, so it's natural that they'd be the first stop on this list. While their Guilty Gear series is probably more well known among fighting game enthusiasts, I never played any of them myself, so I cannot comment on any of their bosses personally. What I have played, and thoroughly enjoyed, is a fighting game from Guilty Gear's sister series, BlazBlue Calamity Trigger. And what a joy it is to play. It's hard finding a game quite as anime as this one. The main boss of this game, V13, was actually pretty average as a final boss, and I almost passed on this game entirely when making this list. However, this game's secret boss was anything but average. If you beat the game with 10 distortion finishes, this series' super moves, without losing a single round, you will get the chance to fight a souped-up version of Ragna the Blood Edge. Ultimate Ragna, sometimes called Boss Ragna. Boss Ragna is essentially a way more powerful version of Ragna. Your attacks do way less, his attacks do way more, and his super allows him to regain some of his own health after taking a massive chunk out of yours. Sorry, did I say some? Scratch that. He regains almost all of his health back. And don't think your worries are over once you reach him. If you lose this match, it doesn't let you fight him again. It just cuts to the credits. You lost. And now, if you want to fight him again, you're gonna have to start all over. Especially when I had such a hard time just finding any info on Boss Ragna in the first place, and I wasn't even sure if I was trying to unlock him the right way. This was extremely frustrating to deal with. As if beating him wasn't bad enough, reaching him was almost as bad. Nah, never mind. Beating him was way harder.
Number 9.
People familiar with Seth from Super or Ultra Street Fighter IV may be scratching their heads with this one. I particularly remember playing Seth on Super Street Fighter IV and not having much trouble with him. Even in Ultra, he was tougher than he was in Super, but still manageable. But in the original home release of Street Fighter IV, it is a whole different ballgame. Vanilla Street Fighter IV features a Seth that is a far cry from any of his counterparts in Super or Ultra. Super aggressive. He was so tough that when they released Super Street Fighter IV, they seriously nerfed him. But then people thought he was too easy, as I did, so they upped his difficulty level again in Ultra to a nice happy medium. I like Ultra Street Fighter IV Seth. Vanilla Street Fighter IV Seth, he's another character entirely. No special tricks or techniques in this one that make him particularly unfair, just his AI is very crafty. Watch out when you're fighting this one.
Number 8.
Okay, so here's one I'm sure a lot of you saw coming. Gil from Street Fighter III, Third Strike, has two very powerful screen-filling supers, but that's not why he made this list. His moves have insane priority and do oodles of damage, but that's not why he made this list. He's the crazed leader of an evil cult and has beautiful, long, flowing locks. But that has nothing to do with this video at all, actually. The reason he is on this list can be summed up with just one word. Resurrection. As if he wasn't hard enough, instead of having to take 2 rounds from him, you pretty much have to take 3. Okay.
NumberSeven.
Number 7 on this list is Gold Frieza from Hyper Dragon Ball Z. You know, I was actually half tempted to include Vegeta on this list instead, since even on the easier difficulties, he has one of the most aggressive AI I have ever seen in a fighting game. Even though he's not really a boss, I still had a dickens of a time beating this frustrating fellow. But the real star here is Gold Frieza. First of all, normal Frieza was tough enough. His anger-inducing finger pistols were enough to make my blood boil, and Gold Frieza was only a tougher version of that. He's a character I just love to hate. If you haven't given Hyper Dragon Ball Z a go, I highly recommend you remedy that immediately. It is totally fan-made and totally awesome. Even the sprites were totally drawn from scratch. A link to the Facebook page will be in the description here. Please, 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 give it a shot. Lots of fun. And it should help tide you over until Dragon Ball FighterZ comes out very, very soon.
NumberSix.
So, initially, I imagined I would place Master Core around number 8 or number 10 on this list, but I hadn't really beaten him on his highest difficulty before, so I thought I'd play through and fight him on his final form, Master Fortress. After playing a while, I realized what a challenge it was just getting to Master Fortress, so I notched him up a few spots on this list. And a few more. And again. And again. And again. And again. Bringing up number 6 on this list is the mysterious Master Core from Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Why not the 3DS version? Well, because on Wii U, he has an exclusive form that only appears in the highest difficulty levels, and it is a doozy. So, when you play arcade mode in Smash 4 on level 8 or higher, you fight the final boss in several forms. First is Master Hand and Crazy Hand, a Smash Bros. Standard. Gotta love them. Upon taking a certain amount of damage, Crazy Hand disappears and Master Hand transforms into a cloud of black particles. And these particles take multiple different shapes. The first of these forms is called
Master Giant,
whose torso takes up most of the screen. He can do things like grab you, eat you, slash you with his hands, and pick up the whole stage itself. What makes this fight so frustrating is the one attack that I really don't think does any damage at all. He lets out a raging shriek that sends you flying off the stage if you're not careful, and when playing characters like Ganondorf or Bowser, you can pretty much forget about making it back. Hit him in the head, and only the head, enough times and he will turn into a swarm of black particles again and become
Master Beast.
A light-and-fast creature with huge gnashing jaws and attacks that rock the whole stage when they land. Hit him in the head enough times, and he changes into the deadly
Master Edge.
Master Edge is a bunch of black swords that can slice and dice you and blast you with energy orbs. This one, fortunately, you can pretty much hit anywhere on the main sword itself. After Master Edge comes
Master Shadow,
a shadowy and slightly larger version of whatever character you're playing at the time. Fortunately, this one is pretty dang easy. He doesn't block or dodge much, and seems to mostly stick to basic moves. So just beat the crap out of him and move on to the final challenge.
Master Fortress.
After beating up Master Shadow, the particles swarm the screen again, and a humongous platform moves next to the main stage. Turns out, in one last-ditch effort to thwart you, Master Core has become an actual level. He's just straight up a level. And what level will be complete without swarms of shadow enemies with death lasers that cross the whole screen? And acid pits. You gotta have acid pits. You just gotta. You know, when you go on a vacation sometimes and you're like, oh, where's the acid pits? Well, here they are. You know, cut that. Can you cut? Did I mention that when you touch those acid pits at over 100% damage, you instantly die? Yeah. There's some of that. So how do you beat Master Fortress? Somewhere in the fort itself, there are 3 cores beating like hearts that you must destroy. After beating the last one, the whole thing disappears and reveals the final form of Master Hand. The Master Core itself. But unlike the previous forms, it won't try to defend itself. The timer no longer ticks down, and touching it won't hurt you. You simply need to deal it enough damage to defeat it once and for all, and it will fly off the screen and explode, ending the long and hard-fought battle. Just don't take too long. Hey guys, thanks for watching part 1 of my top 10 toughest fighting game bosses. Stay tuned to this channel for more excellent goodness coming soon. Believe me, you won't have to wait another 4 months for part 2. That I can guarantee. And to tide you over, check out some of the other awesome videos on my channel. I have made plenty of what I consider to be quite stellar material, so, you know, maybe give them a rewatch, or watch them with your friends or family. You know, you just kind of chill by the acid pits, and, you know, just kind of in your backyard and just, you know, watch some of them, you know. Just enjoying the nice cool breeze and the bubbly, you know, fun goodness over there. Just have a good time, you know. Just enjoy it. And I'll see you in the next video.